So, are we ready to admit that men ain't shit? That the homophobes and phobic people should just get some healing? Like, mind your business. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Mr. Fox of the I Refuse podcast. I was moved to chorus this particular episode. Although I was over here minding my African American business, I was moved to chorus to produce this particular episode off of the strength of Oshai Sibley's murder at a Brooklyn gas station. So, in case you've been living under a rock or living in Amish country, over the weekend, Oshai Sibley, who was a 28-year-old dancer, was at a Brooklyn gas station, decided to get some gas, was blaring Beyonce's music, the Renaissance album, out his car, dancing and voguing in the parking lot. At some point, Oshai Sibley was on the receiving end of homophobic slurs and just anti-gay bullshit that is all too popular, all too common. At some point, he decides to confront these group of toxic men, as I would have too. There was some back and forth. There was some of which was caught on the surveillance camera situated outside the store. There was no audio, but there were witnesses. Some dear friends of Oshai Sibley's were with him. They were on the sidewalk in front of the store. There was an exchange. Clearly, it looked like Oshai was nobody's punk, did not back down, wanted to know what was the problem, what was going on. And apparently, what he said or standing up for himself was a threat. Because after that passed, and I believe him and his friends were on their way back to the car, or he was already they were already in the car when he got stabbed a couple of times before these cowards ran off. So what's come out is not only the surveillance footage that has no audio, which, by the way, how is it that NASA has better camera footage and camera equipment than convenience stores? As much money as convenience stores make in urban neighborhoods, you would think the quality would be better and there would be some audio. Jokes on the people that stabbed him, the people, whether it was one or two, definitely the person that stabbed Oshai, but also the other cowards in the group that could not handle a gay man standing up for himself. Y'all like to get out here, can't handle the world, can't handle what somebody says to you, can't handle rejection. Somehow manage to insert yourself in somebody else's joy, somebody else's freedom, and feel threatened by that. At the very least, it's insecurity. At the very most, toxic masculinity and homophobia. And unfortunately, as is the case with anybody else that decides to insert themselves in somebody else's business, you are putting yourself in a position where you think you can exert your insecurity and your prowess under the assumption that the other party is weak and stupid and inferior to you. You want to show out in front of your friends. But this isn't like middle school or grade school where you pinpoint, a kid that is effeminate and sissy, so to speak, and you just think they're just going to take it. No. We queens are fighting back out here. We are talking back, and y'all can't handle it. I don't know who raised y'all, whether it was Big Mama and her husband after your mama and your daddy like did away with you, didn't want you anymore. Nobody was there to really teach you that what another person does is not a threat to you. And not only did you show your hand by threatening this person either verbally or physically with your homeboys or, other cowards in your group, but you thought, oh, well, he's just, he's not going to say anything. He's not going to check us. Oshai Sibley checked you, and you couldn't handle it. And the other gag is that the exchange went back and forth in front of cameras. So they got images of your face. And the rest of his friends that were with him, that watched you stab him, they're going to remember and they're going to tell. And I will give it until probably the end of this week before they catch all asses. I don't get it. Like, Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast is very, very well aware that a lot of the phobia is a reflection of repressed feelings of the other person, of the aggressor that is trying to overcompensate. And unfortunately, a lot of the reason as to why there's so much aggression and so much so much of a need to prove yourself and just overdo it out of fear is because on some level you're aware that you're gay too. I was watching that Aaron Hernandez thing, and I was just like, that guy was really like living a double life. And you have a lot of people out here that watch sports, that do all the things and are into the hobbies and shit that they feel is a reflection of being masculine, of being, heteronormative, being straight. And unfortunately, it's like, no matter how much football you throw, no matter how long you sit and teach your young sons how to do the power tools and build a shed and all this other shit, whether it's just something that's you do in your house or it's this performance you put on for social media to buck against these liberal norms, you guys like to call it. That's not going to change how they feel on the inside. Like their chemical makeup, the way they, the feeling that they get when they see the same sex, the feeling they get, feelings of amour and feelings of passion and some emotional connection to the same sex. None of that's going to matter. Yet and still, every 5 to 10 years, less than that, more than likely, we have shit like this that is still out there. And for every incident like this, there's always a person trying to counter argue. oh, it doesn't exist, and always trying to downplay our position. Oh well, he shouldn't have said nothing, or why was he in the gas station parking lot voguing? Motherfucker was having a good time. Renaissance Beyonce is on the North American leg of her tour. This album has been out since last year, and we're still rocking to it. None of that is a threat to your delicate masculine sensitivities. None of that is a threat to you. I remember when I was living out in Carroll County, Maryland, and I was working at the Walmart Portrait Studio. Like, anything west of Baltimore is essentially redneck country. Like, they're so not of the metropolitan progressive way. Case in point, I was working at the portrait studio. Lady came in with her two sons. They were like 2 years apart. One was probably 3 or 4. The other was probably 6 or 7. Small enough to sit on the little roll away box that you can put smaller people on. Did different things with the background, poses different, both of them sit Indian style. A way for them to like come across as brothers and related, not just two friends. I remember I did one pose where they were both sitting like this, sitting facing with their bodies facing the wall, to the left of the frame of the camera, with the younger brother in between the legs of the older brother. One of the most common and most well-known poses for children closer in age and children small enough for those little pull-down backgrounds. Mother ordered the package, or she ordered some of the package, took the photos home. She came back with the boys probably like a week or so later, saying that her husband wanted her to do some other shots because apparently he was bothered by that one particular pose out of the 6 or 7 that we did. And I was just like, it's like the littlest shit that will set y'all off. And unfortunately, when you apply murder with your fear, like you are so sensitive and you are so triggered that by somebody's voguing and dancing over here at the gas station, minding their business. You say little shit. All right, we gonna see what this is about. Like, what's the problem? You couldn't handle the back and forth that you started with your homophobic slurs, and you couldn't let that pass. Matter of fact, you took it a step further and was embarrassed by what had just happened in front of your boys, that you didn't even make it a fair fight. You decided to stab Oshai Sibley multiple times and then run off. The levels of stupidity are beyond me, to where it's got to be some kind of illness, emotionally or mentally, where it's just like, I'm so stupid. I'm so irrational by another adult voguing and dancing and having the time of his life with his friends, listening to Beyonce's music, that I gotta involve myself in that over there. Be homophobic, be ignorant, and think that's gonna be the end of it. The levels of stupidity, you are willing to go to jail for the rest of your life when you could have just went to the gas station convenience store, minded your business, got your little peanuts, got your cashews, went and got your gas and left. Now you're possibly looking at capital murder. Now the rest of your friends that let it happen and watched and whatever and didn't intervene, didn't de-escalate the situation, because your mouth probably gets them in trouble everywhere y'all go. Will probably get lesser time from jump and then get immunity before throwing you under the bus, as they should, because you could have just sat there and ate your motherfucking food. But insecurity, homophobia, that New York City arrogance. Then on top of that, there's a story that I call it a story, where it's being said that these people, the person that stabbed him and his friends, the people that are responsible for Oshai Sibley's murder, said that they're claiming that these people have said that his voguing in the parking lot went against their faith. I didn't know New York City gutter snipe rat homophobic ghetto shit is a religion. Like, please, you might need to get the whiteboard out and the dry erase markers and the flashcards out for me to try to explain this to me. Because it's just, that excuse is not curling all the way around for me. Like, this is what y'all choose to do with y'all time? Like, I was just on here talking about some shit the last episode, Carly Hustle, which, by the way, her ex-boyfriend is having a search and rescue party or an event to find his new girlfriend. Ghetto is. But I was just on here talking about the corny bored shit that we're doing these days. Like, we're supposed to have flying cars. We're not that far removed from y'all putting gasoline in sandwich bags, y'all eating Tide Pods, old white people about to be getting off for shooting black mothers through doors. Like, the sense is not making any sense to me. And here y'all go. Like, we just saw y'all lighting yourselves on fire over, trans women going against biological black women. And this whole thing about biological black women do not own periods. And a lot of them are like, you can come and get them. They're yours if you want them. And it's like, were quiet when the Supreme Court turned over Roe versus Wade, which is one of the major things against women. What is limiting our progress is this ego-driven, narcissistic moments of semantics and minutia. Like, y'all quiet on the actual real shit that is coming out of law and politics. and wasting all this data, your phone data and your minutes and your hours going against each other, just the way these white people want us to. Like we're going against other black people and white people on top of that. Like you going against us over us being gay when the greatest scheme of society don't give a fuck about either one of us. Like we're running the same race in this life. We shouldn't be tripping each other up. You know what I mean? Like why are you driven to kill me because I'm voguing in the gas station? Having a good time. Dancing for which I am known for. If you can't handle back and forth, a little verbal back and forth with another adult, don't say shit. Don't run your mouth if you can't fight. Don't run your mouth if you can't fight. Before I get up out of here, we're going to talk about one more thing that just hit my IG feed. Like I read this thing that happened allegedly over in Amsterdam, allegedly involving Lizzo and some of her staff, her former staff. So apparently, she is being sued, Lizzo. Everybody at this point should know who that is. Former Lizzo dancers are suing Lizzo for weight shaming and pressure while at a strip club. So 3 of her former dancers have accused Lizzo of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment in a lawsuit that was filed today. They allege that she pressured one of them to touch a new performer at an Amsterdam club and subjected the group to excruciating audition after leveling false accusations that they were drinking on the job. They accused the performer, who's world renowned for body positivity and embracing your physique and celebrating it, for calling attention to one of the dancers' weight, berating them, firing the dancer after she recorded a meeting because of a health condition. So it accuses the captain of Lizzo's dance team of proselytizing to other performers and deriding those who have premarital sex while sharing lewd sexual fantasies, simulating oral sex, and publicly discussing the virginity of one of the plaintiffs. This is courtesy of NBC News. She does not say if Lizzo knew about the allegations linked to the dance captain Shirley Quigley, but the plaintiffs believe the singer was aware of their complaints against her. The suit does name Lizzo, her production company, and this Quigley lady. In addition to accusations of a hostile work environment and sexual harassment, they're also claiming religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment, interference with prospective economic advantage, and other allegations. Oh, okay. The suit also accuses Lizzo of calling attention to dancers' weight at an appearance at South by Southwest Musical Festival. Later told the dancer Ariana Davis that she seemed less committed to her role, a comment the suit describes as thinly veiled concern about Davis's weight. Oh boy. Another dancer began performing with Lizzo after performing on the Amazon reality show in 2021. The third, Noel Rodriguez, was hired the same year after performing in the video Rumors. So what I'm about to tell y'all is what came up on my IG feed. Amsterdam club accusations. Trip to the Amsterdam strip club Banana Nam Bar happened after performance in the city earlier this year. The suit states that Lizzo's after parties were routine and non-mandatory, but alleges that those who attended were favored by the singer and had greater job security. At the club, it's alleged that Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the new performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas, and eating bananas protruding from their burning bush. The suit goes on to say that Melissa then turned her attention to Ms. Davis and began pressuring Ms. Davis to touch the fun area of one of the nude women. She declined, according to the suit, and Lizzo allegedly led a chant goading her to do so. After Davis declined 3 more times, the chant grew louder and more strident, demanding a visibly uncomfortable Miss Davis to engage with the performer. When Davis eventually gave in and briefly touched the performer, the group burst into laughter, the suit says. Afterward, Lizzo allegedly pressed a member of her security staff to get on stage and began yelling, "Take it off," according to the suit. Plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. A week later, after a show in Paris, Lizzo invited her dancers to a club so they would be able to perform or learn something or be inspired by the performance. What Lizzo failed to mention when inviting the dancers to this performance was that it was a nude cabaret bar. The suit describes the performance as artful, but the plaintiffs were shocked that Lizzo would conceal the nature of the event from them, robbing them of the choice not to participate. So this could go one of 2 ways. It could just fall apart because it sounds very speculative, or it could, all the bad publicity could drive Lizzo and her team to settle. Either way, it's just causing a lot of confusion at this point because a lot of people are like, well, how is it that a body positive female empowerment artist is moving differently behind closed doors? And we get up here on the I Refuse podcast to talk about stan culture and how, they love you for, 5 minutes right now, then they'll hate you, and then you disappear, you come back, and they love you all over again. A lot of people are setting themselves on fire still over Doja Cat because she's placing a boundary, and people have changed the narrative to this is our queen, from this is our queen, to, oh, she's failing now, and she's desperate. All because she's not giving them what they want or what they demand. And that's what stan culture, like the toxic part, is like people feel that they are expected or entitled to as much of you as possible. Like, a lot of people out here can barely make it over the Ticketmaster fees, yet y'all want to give these artists the blues and then wonder why they're not coming to your city. Like, Doja and Lizzo are not putting a gun to your head to spend like $4,000, mortgage your mom's home and the basement that you live in, and, put your pallets up for sale. But anyway, like, this could definitely go to, the attention alone, because we're at that point right now. We've been at this point since, I think the last big thing was that Usher thing. Like, he came out of that unscathed with the woman, with Gloria Allred, claiming that Usher gave her the business, and then a lot of people went on Twitter shaming the girl. Like, Usher, like, we don't see that for Usher, like, really busting a woman of that size open. But it's not news that allegedly he got a situation going on over there and has been for a while. But with Lizzo, it's like, the the perception or the inference coming from this suit and the details, especially from, with NBC News, is sharing is like, not you, like the body positive person, creating this kind of environment where you are, in a way, pressuring women to do things in an environment after not giving them full details as to what's going on. And yeah, I like the party too. Shanae ain't like the party. Shanae ain't like the party and all that other shit. But Melissa, what's going on, girl? And of course, Stan Culture is going to be like, the former backup dancers are just so salty because they got fired and they're not working. Now they want to talk. It's just a little too detailed. It's just a little too detailed. It's just a little too detailed. Like, they named the city and the name of the club. And I can definitely understand, as a person that is in a field where your money is possibly in your next gig. And with that, you kind of have to go along to get along to maintain some sort of job security. Because, the dancing community and the performer community is very oversaturated. And you got to go on so many open casting calls and, do the same routine over and over and over again while they dwindle down, from 100 or 500 dancers or wannabes to like the 5 or so that'll go on tour with this particular artist. So I can see that, like, we want to stay on, but I can also see that that's a script that's all too often used. You know what I mean? Like, even people with regular jobs or no jobs try to use that power dynamic plot device in a particular narrative to make themselves look like the victim. So it could very well like go either way. But either way, whether she settles or this actually goes to court of some kind, and that's going to be bad publicity and possibly put a stain on her reputation and her image as somebody that's body positive. But girl, you over here forcing people to like shoot toys out of their burning bush. Or, now that we know the names of the former dancers, this whole thing could put a scarlet letter on their reputation. Because it's nothing to these labels and these promoters and these artists and, the people with the power and the money to just get other dancers. And people talk. So, could it be true? Maybe. It's a little too detailed for it to not be. And when I was reading this on my little IG or whatever, my takeaway was I just had a fucking brain fart. My takeaway was that she is just wow, I just had a real brain fart. The other thing I wanted to talk about regarding this Lizzo thing is that when it comes to like arguments in court, the main argument is trying to get Lizzo out of what harassment means. Like, these dancers in the harassment suit are claiming it was accountants and the dance captain, like other people besides Lizzo, right? Which means they could possibly leave all culpability on those other people. People that were hired by Lizzo. Like, even reading the article, I was just like, y'all are saying it was these specific people and that Lizzo knew about it, or Lizzo should have been made aware of it. You don't think her legal team is going to argue Lizzo out of that? Like, you got to come with something a little bit more concrete. And harassment's nothing, with harassment not being anything new, you're going to have to really come with some hard receipts. And come with some witnesses, other dancers, which will probably be hard for you to do because other dancers are going to be like, you're not fucking up my bread. You're not fucking up my money. You're not fucking up my name and my reputation by bringing me into this. Like, loyalty, unfortunately, loyalty, morals, and ethics is only good on paper. Now that we are in like the third or fourth season of this pandemic, they're going to go where the money goes. And unfortunately, Lizzo has the money. She has the money. So, I don't know. I really don't know. It could go either way. But from a publicity standpoint, this ain't good for Lizzo. Because, girl, you out here making this Weight Watchers class music, claiming to be, be about body positivity, embracing yourself, and all this other jazz. Meanwhile, you setting your dancers up to be in situations and like allegedly coaxing them into doing stuff that their nonverbals are showing that they don't want to do. Now, this isn't all the way in the throes of Me Too, but it's in the zip code of it. But either way, it's not good image-wise. And I'm sure these 3 or 4 dancers or whoever's listed as the complainants are going to get paid just to go away and shut up. But 9 times out of 10, there won't be a future for them as dancers. Oh no. It's another thing is that just like there's a boys club, there's definitely a girls club. And, there's got to be, I know, artists are sensitive about their shit and about their art and stuff. But when you get off that stage, you really have to tighten up and move a little bit differently. Like after parties and parties up in the hills with other celebrities. Like it's gotten to a point now to where you have to be tighter about the company you keep, the people you hire, the production staff, even down to, in Lizzo's case, the dance captain. Like every little comment, whether it's in the heat of the moment and out of blind ambition, could fuck up the money. But it makes you wonder, right? Like, why now? Because, isn't she about to get off the tour? I don't know. I don't really follow Lizzo like that, but this story right here, really all it takes is for this story to make it to a popular outlet for everything to just suddenly disappear the next week. Like, I feel like that's what happened with the Usher situation. I feel like that's what happened with there was another situation with a celebrity, more recent, and it just disappeared. And people went on, didn't say boo about it after that. But this here is very different. Because body positivity, All of your dancers are of a particular size. And I'm curious as to if that's a standard you aim for, um, to further push that message. Um, I mean, you could stand to reason a person that's not full figure that auditions and doesn't get the job could very easily say, well, shit, you were discriminatory against me. Like, this could open up the floodgates. You're discriminatory against me because I'm not big enough. But imagine you make it on the team to be Lizzo's backup dancer, and you got a team captain that is on your behind because you're just presenting unacceptably. That's what part of this harassment thing is alleging this team captain was saying. And accountants and other people behind the scenes trying to be stingy with the money. Again, not Lizzo, but if they can't get to you, they'll try to get it through people around you. And justify it by saying, well, these are her people, she should know. Or she should have known. Well, I've watched enough Judge Judy to know that the judge is not going to go for in her or in his or her courtroom. Don't tell me what somebody else told you. If the lawsuit is supposed to be against Lizzo, how are we going to make Lizzo responsible or make Lizzo liable today? Like, I really got to get into reading y'all contracts and getting full disclosure before y'all get on somebody's team. Hope this shit ain't true. Fuck homophobes, fuck transphobes, fuck racists, fuck all around bigots, fuck body shamers, fuck all around assholes and jerks. And read your contracts, read the fine print, whether you're a musician, a background singer, an artist, a singer, a rapper, an actor, actress, producer, director. Read the contracts. Or you might end up like one of these backup dancers. Or you might end up like one of these actors that's showing the rest of the world on a weekly basis their little residual checks. And then you got people out here that are like, well, that's more than what most people make. Shut up. You should have just read the contract. I swear some of y'all need to go out and touch some grass. Because a lot of these industries and a lot of these fields, especially media heavy, are not willing to compensate artists. They're actually looking to replace them in future iterations of their works and their contributions, replace them with AI. That way, thus cutting out the middleman. So on top of y'all not already paying them enough, as you continue to make money off of copies and syndication, what little you do send them, you're trying to put an end to that as well. But here go Cody and Corey on the pallet, or Isabel living in her mama's basement talking about, well, they should have read the contract, or they should know better. It's always somebody that's doing less than you that's going to have the most to say about you. And with that, I'm Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. This has been another great episode. We're Season 4 of the I Refuse podcast is available on 8 streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This will be available as a bonus episode. Season 5 is coming in the fall. In the meantime, we will be working on the YouTube over the summer indoors. minding our African American business. So follow and subscribe wherever you see us, and we will catch you guys later. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse